Hey guys, thanks for joining me. Today we're going to be talking about how to self-assess for diastasis recti. Diastasis recti is a separation of your abdominal walls, which is most common during pregnancy to make room for that growing baby. When it becomes an issue is when that separation doesn't close like it needs to. Typically, if you have a 2.5 finger gap or wider, then it's an issue. Diastasis recti is most noticeable after a pregnancy. It's most commonly seen as a bulging or coning effect in the center of your abs. Diastasis recti can cause sort of a pooch effect in your lower abs, causing you to still look like you're pregnant. It can also cause lower back pain, pelvic pain, and leaking. It's important to see if you have diastasis recti and at what degree it is. There are plenty of things you can do to help close that gap if done the right way. So now we're gonna come down to the mat. So if you just had a little one, take your time getting down on the mat. First, we wanna come down on our side, all the way down, and then we're gonna roll to our back to get there as safe as possible. Okay, while we're there, then we're gonna bend at the knee, and we're gonna be nice and relaxed on the mat. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and roll my shirt up, just so we can see everything that's going on at the same time. All right, so I'm here, and I'm going to start, we will be measuring for 3 different places. That first spot is gonna be right at our belly button. If your belly button is a little sensitive, if you just had a baby, you can do 1 finger above. So I recommend going straight from the top. If it's more comfortable, you can lay that hand flat. Just make sure whatever you're doing, you'll be able to test for the width of that separation here. Okay, so our first measurement is going to just be relaxed. We're not gonna do any 4 breaths here. We're gonna be nice and relaxed just to get a good indicator of that width of separation. In our second round, we will do that with a kinetic breath so we can get the depth and tension of that separation. So first one, we're just relaxed right there at the belly button. I've got my first location. When you go to measure, we have our spot. Then we're going to slightly lift up. We're gonna raise your head up, but your shoulders are gonna stay pretty relaxed here, okay? So we're gonna take our hand here, and we're gonna feel how many finger widths we can get in between that separation. Now for me, I have closed my diastasis recti. I can fit maybe a finger barely right there, okay? So yours, it could be a couple fingers, it could be 4 or more. So keep that in mind, everyone's gonna be different, but right now mine is healed, so you would expect to see little to no separation. Okay, so then we're gonna do about 4.5 centimeters above the belly button. So that's usually about 3 to 4 finger widths above your belly button. So that's gonna be our second measurement here. Again, we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna raise up and see how many fingers we can get there. Now, typically, the higher up or lower down you go, that separation tends to get a little bit smaller. So for me, I can't even fit anything there. Mine is nice and closed up at the top, okay? And then we wanna do our third measurement, which is about 4.5 centimeters down. So about 3 to 4 finger widths down, we're there. And you might need to roll your leggings down if they are in the way. Again, we're gonna raise up. We're gonna fill there, again, just like the top of mine, no separation there, and we're gonna come back down nice and relaxed. So for the second set, we're gonna focus on a connective breath. And for that, we're gonna take an inhale, and when we take that inhale, we are going to fill our bellies with air and let our pelvic floor just kind of relax. And on the exhale, we're gonna bring that pelvic floor in, and we're gonna wrap those abs around. Now, when you're doing this breath, this is not you sucking in and being unable to breathe. You should be able to breathe and talk while you're holding that breath. So keep that in mind. Okay, so we're gonna take that breath, we're gonna fill the belly with air. And on that release, tightening, all those things. And then we're gonna lift up just like we did before. And we're gonna test that tension the same way we would test our separation, okay? So just filling those fingers in that spot. Now you should feel, once you're doing a kinetic breath, if done correctly, everything should be tighter. So your separation should be less and have decreased, and that tension should increase, okay? So that doesn't mean it's gonna completely close. You're still gonna have, if you have diastasis recti, it's still there, but it should be a little bit tighter than before. So we're gonna go ahead and take that breath and measure our 4.5 finger above. So we're gonna lift up. Again, mine's nice and tight. All right, and back down. And now we're gonna do that forefinger width down. Again, nice and tight, so my tension is good. So when performing the Diastasis Recti assessment, it's important to do both of those. You want to do the first one so we can measure the width of the Diastasis Recti, and then the second one is to measure the tension. Both of these are important to know how much work we need to do to rehabilitate that gap, bring those abdominal muscles back together, and what we can do to prevent them from separating further if you're planning on having more kids. Don't worry if you have Diastasis Recti. This is a very common thing. The key here is to find out how bad it is and then learn what you need to do to close that gap, and also what you can do to prevent it from happening again with further pregnancies.